Hey everyone, it's Chris from Line Punch Forge. I am sitting here in my bedroom, all packed up, ready for Tucson, and I hope that this portion of the video will be the beginning of what I'm going to be calling my YouTube restart. We're going to go ahead and do some more videos. We're going to just reboot the whole YouTube channel. And I hope to get that started by essentially taking some videos down in Tucson, talking about the show itself, sharing some of my experiences down there. And yeah, so right now in Washington State, it's 20s at night, degrees wise. Not sure what that is in Celsius. And during the day, it's right around 40 or so. Down in Tucson, however, it's 65, 70 degrees, so I'm looking forward to that. Now that I got everything packed, my job now is to get a little bit of rest, and maybe I'll do a little recording while I'm at the airport. I don't think they like recording there, though, but we'll see. If not, see you in Tucson. Okay, we have a car. Let's find it. I'm gonna beep it, cause yeah. Walked right past it. I got a Kia. All right, I'm in the car. I have a car. Time to get out of here. I'm gonna run by the grocery store, get some snacks, some food for the week, kind of get things started, get settled in, and then once I get settled in where I'm at, I'll come back and let's just give you guys kind of a rundown of how I got started, how I got here. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Since we're doing a YouTube channel reboot, might as well tell my story. Hey there, how's it going? I made it to my place of residence for the next 2 weeks, staying with some friends in Green Valley. This is a nice place to film and kind of talk a little bit about everything. Since this is going to be the beginning of a YouTube reboot, I kind of wanted to go over a little bit of like, what am I doing here? How'd I get here? Where'd my business come from? My background. I did another kind of video on the name of Line Punch Forge, and I may redo that because a lot of the videos I'm going to be putting back on YouTube are going to be kind of like remakes, refilms of some older videos. That way we can get some better footage and update stuff. So, long story short, I started my making career when I was maybe 10 years old. I started doing some wood carving, always had an interest in that kind of thing, just rocks, gems, had rock collections. And then I started doing some wood carving, and middle school rolls around and they have a wood shop. And so I sign up for wood shop and I start making furniture in middle school. So it's a lot of fun to have kind of that shop, some tools, and not cut off any of my fingers while I was in middle school making furniture. High school, you know how things go. High school, things happen. You start college after that, and then eventually it was, buying my first house that kind of revamped my love of woodworking. I made a lot of some of my own furniture to begin with, and that was kind of fun to be able to have that experience, to have a garage where I could do some work. Years pass, I collect a lot of hobbies kind of along the way. One of those happened to be a blacksmith shop that my dad, my brother, and I bought, put in a U-Haul truck, drove it back to one of our shops, and started making scrap metal. So I say that because we had absolutely no idea what we were doing when it came to blacksmithing. And this was before Forged in Fire, so there wasn't a whole lot of, interesting YouTube stuff about how to do what and, how to heat treat. It was all trial and error for us. So absolutely loved that. Started getting involved in like welding, eventually some other metal work. About that time, I just kind of really got unhappy with working in public safety. So I retired from 21 years with the sheriff's office, and during that time, and there were fun times. There were things that I enjoyed about it, but as I started getting older, I realized I just didn't like it. It didn't feel like it was me. It didn't feel like it didn't feel like what I wanted to do. I remember sitting behind my desk as a sergeant and saying to myself, "This is it. I'm just sitting around waiting to die. This is my life." And so, in 2020, things change a lot during the pandemic. I retired, and with that retirement, I had to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with my life. A little prior to that, I'd started playing around with some other metalsmithing like copper and brass, and doing some forgings with that, fold form, and making jewelry, because I initially wanted to make my knives more intricate. So jewelry was a fun way to teach myself a new skill to make my knives more intricate. And it turns out I really liked making jewelry. And when I retired, I wanted to turn myself around here, get some Arizona. I wanted to make and sell jewelry when I retired. And unfortunately, the jewelry industry is relatively competitive. I had been making some YouTube videos on some tutorials, stuff like that. I decided that I wanted to make that work, but I had to figure out a way to do it. So since I collected all these other kind of manufacturing skill sets when it comes to working a lathe and blacksmithing and welding and woodworking and all of those things, I decided that I'd start making some very rudimentary tools and doing it in an artful kind of way that would maybe sell to artists. The advantage of that was the Instagram following that I had at the time was primarily people who were watching to see the jewelry that I was making. They weren't my customers. And so I wanted to figure out a way to flip-flop my Instagram following and make the people who were following me flip-flop them into my customers rather than just people who were watching the jewelry that I was making. I liked doing the, providing tutorials and stuff like that, but when it comes to running a business, you have to find customers. And so one of the important questions I think people should ask themselves is, first, who is my customer? Who am I selling to? And then the second question you ask is, what do they need? What do they want? And by answering those two questions in that order, you can kind of create a product line. It takes a lot of work. It's not necessarily just that easy, but that's what I ended up doing. I ended up inventing a couple tools. Some of them got picked up by a large tool manufacturer, and I spent a first part of my career kind of working with them, and eventually that came to an end. And in the meantime, I had been working on growing my business and creating my own product line, and it grew. It grew because I had no other outcome other than being successful. I told myself, I'm going to make this work. I want to make it work, and I made it work. So now this is my, I think, 5th year in Tucson. This is also the first year where I'm not actually doing any kind of demonstrations or showing anywhere. It's just kind of my ability to step back a little bit and network and not have any obligations this year in Tucson. One of the other advantages of that is that I have the time and the camera and the ability to walk around and show you guys who can't come to Tucson kind of what you're missing. So show some of the shows. I hope to do some interviews with some of my partners that are here, and just kind of give you guys a Tucson experience if you can't show up. So when it comes to growing your business, and especially the way that I've kind of structured mine, is that it's gone through a lot of different phases. There's been things that I've been successful at, and there's things that have been utter failures. But I think it was Winston Churchill, I think, said, I might get that wrong. You have to tell me in the comments if this is wrong. But success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. And so in a lot of ways, that just tells you that you're an enthusiastic failure. But in the other ways, it's not letting those things that may be failures get you down. I learn more from a failure than I ever do from a success. Whether it's, how you structure your partnerships, or how you release a product, or, whether or not you want to be super active on social media. How are you going to grow your business with, social media being kind of, you know, wishy-washy sometimes, whether or not your stuff's going to get shown due to an algorithm. There's all these things that change, and I think it's really important as business owners that we be aware of those changes and figure out exactly how we kind of work in that fluidly. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a reboot to the YouTube channel, and doing product videos and interviews, and just kind of maybe some business and lifestyle stuff as well. There's a lot to show, and there's a lot going on, and I think it's really important that makers, we share our journey. And I hope that in making a lot of these videos, that it's a documentation of, going from somebody who decides to retire from a long 21 years in one career field, and just starting over and doing something else, how you can be relatively successful at something that you put your mind to. By no way, shape, or form have I done it perfectly. I'm still going to make mistakes, but I think it's really important that you evaluate those things, and you make it so that essentially, be unstoppable. Have the tenacity to, be okay with making mistakes, and, take a chance, do something new. All those things. It's just, there's a lot. I think one of the most important things to say is that be honest with yourself about the things you don't know, and learn them. Try and learn them. I had no idea how to 3D print anything. I had no idea how to do a lot of the processes that I do in my business now. But it's just having the courage to do something new and to be bad at something. And if you have the courage to be bad at something, then you probably also have the tenacity to learn it. Just keep on doing it. It's okay to not know how to do something and teach yourself. Look at how many people start off in the garage and end up, building big empires for themselves. By no way, shape, or form do I expect what I'm doing to create some big empire. I'm just happy being able to make and create and be a part of a community that I love. That everything else that comes a part of it is just, absolutely worthwhile. So, before I ramble on too much longer, I'll probably end this video and just invite you to watch what we've got going on with Tucson, some of the shows, some of the interviews, and welcome to the Lion Punch Forge YouTube reboot. Happy to have you along.